Hello, fellow wombats. Why are we called wombats? Because a group of wombats we learned by accident is called a wisdom, and we think that's damn cool. I love it. This is show number 24 of season number 1 of a planned 30 episode season. It's going to bring us up till right around Thanksgiving. Then I'm going to take some time off, regroup, start to plan season number 2, which I've already started to plan. Season number 2 is going to be, I'm going to say, a lot different, only because I plan on doing 2 shows a week. And I plan on streaming these shows live. If you want to catch the show live and call in and ask any questions, I'm going to have guests from time to time. I want to make it a lot more topical as well. Man, I have a start date, but I'm not going to announce the start date. If you go to terryjames.com, there's a schedule at the top of the website. Right now, I have not put it up there just of yet, but I will. I will very soon. And it's going to be twice a week. I'm hoping for Monday and Thursdays. I'm always going to shoot for Monday and Thursdays. That being said, the reason I need a schedule up there is because my real job, my real life, sometimes steps in the way. I'm going to have to juggle some things around. So you'll always be informed at terryjames.com. You know what else you can do over there? Pick yourself up a wombat shirt. I also have a couple of funny shirts up there as well that you could get. And all the money's going to a brand new studio. And as you know, that I need to do something. I need to do something, especially with all this other stuff. There's a lot of cost involved in bringing the programs together for live streaming and storing all the video and learning how to edit. And I hope that I haven't bitten off more than I can chew. This is one of those things where I'm throwing myself out there. I'm telling you guys I'm doing this, so now I got to fucking do it. Sometimes that works for me. A lot of times it doesn't, but sometimes that absolutely works for me. All right, before we get going, on today's show, I got an email from a woman named Sandy talking about the last episode of the Terry Jaymes Show, where I was talking about being proactive in your life, whether it's financially, being ready for a rainy day, that type of stuff. Health-wise, obviously doing everything you can to be as healthy as you can and all that stuff. And I think she maybe took me a little too literal, and maybe I did come off a little too literal. And for that, I apologize. She said, how about an example? It's a long email, by the way, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to take out the one part here where she was talking about people with lung cancer who've never smoked. You're absolutely right. Somebody who's had some sort of venereal disease from and never having sex or whatever it is, that stuff is out there. And absolutely, life, and my theory about life, and I've had this for a long time, life is almost fair. It's not fair. And once we realize it's not fair, there are things that are completely out of our control. Health, you can just walk outside, and I can be sitting here right now, sitting here in a high rise, and a plane comes in and hits me in that stuff. That happens, and it's horrible. But you can be proactive in trying to minimize what's going to happen further on down your life by saving money, by working out. My big use it or lose it thing right now, my workouts are I've stepped them up. I am now doing them every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Those are my workout days because those are the only days that I really have where I'm not beat to shit and tired all the time. So, yeah, you can do something, Sandy, about it, but you're right. You're 100% right. Bad things happen to good people. And it's very sad. And that's where maybe we have to learn to be empathetic. That's where you need to learn to help one another and to comfort one another. Maybe that's the lesson in this. I have no idea. But it sure does seem unfair when you're sitting there. I mean, everybody talks about it. If there's a God, would there be war? Would there be famine? Would there be, listen, I get it. And I go through all those same questions. And I follow those questions, though, with, okay, if that's not the case, what do? What are the messages in these horrible things that happen? And sometimes I could come up with a reason. Like I said, maybe it's to be more compassionate or to help one another out. Like I said, maybe there's a little something like that. So There you go. All right, let's get things going, shall we? A little bit of Cabas to get things started. Larry, you ever. I'm excited about, like I said, the brand new season number 2. But this is the season number 1 theme song, and Larry, it's worked like a champ. Here we go. I scream at the top of my lungs. Yeah, I just ruined the song for everybody, didn't I? I apologize. Boy, on today's show, I'm going to do something a little different. You may see more of this in season number 2 of the Terry Jaymes Show, or whatever it's going to be called. I'm throwing around new show titles and everything else. I'm not tied to anything. I'm letting this take me where it's supposed to go. And so far, the ride has been a lot of fun. But on today's show, we just had a national EBS test. If you're listening to this when I post this on Thursday, it happened yesterday. But it just happened to me. Just now happened. It went off at 2:20 Eastern time. Your phone went screaming. Just in case something crazy is happening, we're supposed to be notified. But speaking of crazy, a lot of people have been saying online that this is what's happening. The government is tracking us, and this is their testing of that system. They're testing it. Because we got a vaccine, anybody who got a vaccine apparently today is supposed to turn into a zombie. So I'm going to take the phone downstairs and I'm going to go down and we're going to go and look and see if people are zombies. So that you're going to see on YouTube. You're also going to be hearing a little bit of audio. If you're listening on the podcast, it's going to sound a little different because I will be down on my phone doing that. So that's going to be happening. Let's go take a look at the mayhem coming up here in a little bit. Plus, what's the difference between burnout and just pure laziness? And trust me, there is a gigantic difference. But first, your life will never, I repeat, your life will never move forward if you do this. What the hell is it with people who are aging? What the hell is going on out there? I'm learning, and this is obviously an unofficial survey that I'm doing, but it seems like all the older people are Karens, they're trolls, they're this, they're that. They're just unhappy as anything that their life didn't turn out the way they wanted it to. So God damn it, they're going to take it out on somebody else. So they say, whoever they is, they say that a way to build an audience in podcasting is to go on other podcasts and be a guest. You know, kind of share audiences and things like that. In fact, in season 2 of this show, still working title, The Terry Jaymes Show, could be something different. In season 2, I'd like to have some guests on. So I'd like to reciprocate some of the stuff that I've been doing lately. And earlier today, I was on another podcast. I will tell you which one that is when the time comes to release it, but it's not a big podcast. Somebody that is in this type of arena, since I've been told I am now it's not self-help, I guess it's just health and wellness category. I figured I'd go with that for now and see what that's all about. Let's take that ride, since that's where the universe seems to be guiding me. Let's take that ride and explore that avenue for a little bit and see what happens. So I was a guest on one of the shows today, and they were going over my bio, which seems like I've done a lot, but I really haven't. I've been lucky enough to have a job like this, whether it's radio, a little bit of TV, some TV commercials, just sporadic stuff like that, some stand-up comedy, none of it really excelling in, but enough to be able to have a full-time job doing something I love, which is something that I asked the universe for when I first started to get in this whole industry. And I've had times where things were better than ever, sometimes where it's a little tougher than ever. Financially, I've had some landfalls. Is that what a windfall? I don't know. I've had some good years. I don't know what I'm saying. Obviously, I didn't learn how to talk during this whole thing. And then I've had some not so good years. You know, it's up and down like anything else. Nothing is a guarantee at all. But they were talking to me today about the creative process, which I still don't know what that is. I just think that's still just being aware and being open to receiving ideas. You hear something, you go, oh, wait a minute, maybe I could do this type of thing. So I really couldn't answer on the way that I do my creative process because I have been doing this basically my entire life. I keep notes all the time over something I heard. I have categories for jokes that I hear. Here we go. Let's see what my latest joke is. Let me scroll through some of my notes here. I've got notes for questions for the Go Cleanse Health conversation. I have notes to what I'm going to talk about on the Gang of Two podcast with Sherry. I have notes for what season number 2 of this podcast is going to be about. I have notes about stand-up comedy ideas. And this latest one that I just wrote down over the thing, I'm at the age where I'm starting to look for grab bars in the shower. And I talk about how, and that's not a joke, these are just premises that I'm going to work on. Something along the lines of, you know, when I go running now, I no longer feel like I'm really running, but I feel like I look like him. I feel like I'm fooling people when in reality, people see me running down the street and they say, well, good for him. You know, stuff like that. I know you're dying right now. The point is that I just keep notes all the time. That is my creative process. Something comes from it. I would say 99% of the time, there's stuff that I just don't use. And at the end of the year, I used to go through all of my notes and get rid of things that I didn't want to use, really zero in on the ones that still have interest to me. Now I do that once a month, and I don't think that's enough. I think I need to do it on a weekly basis, but because I want some time to pass between an idea and should I carry on with it or not. But they were talking about, do I ever get burned out with doing the Lex and Terry shows so early in the morning, podcast with my wife, and then this podcast, which I'm loving, and being guest on other shows, and always throwing myself in there. I have friends who are writing things, and I will help them come up with ideas with that. I'm writing something myself. Bottom line is, I'm just very busy. I don't think that I have the focus right now to make any of these a giant reality, which is something I'm working on. I'm working on what the priorities are, what the biggest thing is, what am I enjoying the most? That's what I'm working on. But the question was, do I ever get burned out? And the straight answer is absolutely. I get burned out. And there's a big difference between being lazy and being burned out. It's a big difference. And when you're burned out, it is a painful feeling to have. It really is. At first, I thought certain things I was just being lazy. I would take a nap when I had a task at hand to do. I just didn't feel like doing it. Just wasn't into it. I would take a nap and hopefully wake up and say, you know what? I'm going to get back at it again. And sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't work. But being burned out is a big difference between being lazy. Being lazy just means you don't want to do it at that moment. You don't feel like doing something. Being burned out is a whole other ballgame. Being burned out is where I just can't do it. I can't. As hard as I try, I can't. And sometimes that happens on the Lex and Terry show. Sometimes the arguing is a bit too much. Sometimes my hours are a bit too much. Sometimes I just can't fucking do it anymore, And all I need at that point is to get away from it, not think about it, sleep, do anything but think about that. And I think that if you're feeling burned out, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not lazy, you know when you're lazy. When you're lazy, just answer that question that I said. You're just putting it off. You're saying things to yourself like, I just don't feel like doing it right now. When you burned out, you just know you can't do anymore. You just can't do it. How do you recover? I don't know. I don't know what the best recipe for burnout is, but I do know what burnout is, that's for sure. And I do know what has helped me in the past. I go to a creative place. I sleep in. I go hang out with friends. I read a book. I watch some shows that I've never watched before. And a lot of times I'm just sitting there vegging. I don't even know what I'm reading sometimes when I'm burned out. But eventually it starts to come around. Eventually the reading other things, the listening to other podcasts, the watching TV shows, the taking a long walk, the getting more and more sleep really starts to come into play and starts to cure the burnout to where I'm ready to go again. I'm ready to get back in the batter's box and give it a shot. But you know when you're burned out, when you're saying to yourself, I just can't do it anymore. You probably just heard that. The national EBS test just went off. I'm standing here on my patio right now. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening to the podcast, hi. But it's a very important time right now. It's a telling time right now. As the EBS test went off, 2:20 East Coast, 9:20 Pacific time. I'm telling you right now, people have been saying that if you got the vaccine, that you will now turn into a zombie because the government has this. They're setting it off. They're setting it off. You probably saw it online all over the place. There's no better way to tell than to go downstairs and see how many zombies are out there. Let's do this. It does have kind of an eerie feeling out here today. I bet it's right. I'm starting to believe all of the stuff that's happening. What is going on here? Oh my God. Oh, here comes the people. I gotta hurry up and see if they're zombies. They're walking like zombies. They're all walking the same direction. They're all doing this. Wait, this is a zombie car driver. That's a zombie car driver. Here I come, here I come, here I come. Oh, these are motherfucking zombies if I've ever seen them. Unbelievable. Oh, for sure. Especially this bitch. Oh my God. When are you people who believe in that shit, who believe that JFK is still alive, and who believe that Trump is the president right now? He may be again someday, but guess what? He's not right now. Who believe all that kind of stuff. When are you finally gonna go, hey, none of this shit's ever come true? Maybe I'm a fucking whack job. When are you gonna stop spreading this shit to everybody else and give me a fucking rest? I'm tired of going online and dealing with your fucking crazy ass. Okay? Grow the fuck up. Stop watching the shit you're watching and come back to society. We'd love to have you back. You were fun once. Well, there you have it, everybody. It's the end of the show. Bye. If you heard something on the show that you think maybe a friend might benefit from, please share the show. That's the way these things happen. I need it. I'm just gonna tell you, I need reviews, honest reviews. If you hate me, those come in as well. But I need some good reviews. I also need you to share the show. That's the way things going. And also on YouTube. There's going to be a lot of streaming on YouTube coming up in season number 2 of this. So you may want to go by and subscribe to my YouTube page. And it's youtube.com/ I think it's called The Terry Jaymes. I think that's what it is. Well, I know where you could go. You could go to my website, terryjaymes.com. There's a bunch down the right-hand side. There's a bunch of links to where you can subscribe to the podcast or even subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's there for you. And there's even a video right at the click. Just click on that and sign up. I'd really, truly appreciate that. Just have a fantastic rest of the week, guys. Be safe over the weekend. It's going to be nice weather here. And I'm excited about the fact that it's going to be nice weather here. This might be the last weekend that we have okay weather. So I'm probably going to do some stuff I probably shouldn't be doing. I'm going to sit outside. I'm going to have a cocktail. I'm going to celebrate life with my wife with my life. Either one, they're kind of interchangeable. So have a wonderful weekend, guys. Be safe. And we will talk to you next Thursday for another Terry Jaymes Showcast.